Hello and welcome back to the NOTCAST episode 303. Today is the 16th of July 2023, and as you will have worked out from the t-shirt, from the NOTCAST title and the images I'm about to show to you, today I'm going to be talking about the Great British Depeche Mode ticket rip-off scandal, because I am fed up with the extortionate price rises that have been inflicted to gig goers in the past few years. It's absolutely absurd, it's unsustainable, and it's really, really annoying. First of all, the first thing I think I have to say is that art is for everybody. Art should not be the sole preserve and solely reserved for the rich and for the wealthy. During lockdown, because that's when I started doing this, during lockdown, pretty much all of us spent a lot of time watching television, reading books, listening to music, watching films. Netflix completed it, mate. But we spent all of our time absorbing and distracting ourselves from the horror that was surrounding us by entertaining ourselves with art and culture. And despite what Rishi Sunak said, which is that he wants to move away from low value degrees, and the definition of low value degrees, by the way, are degrees that you don't earn a huge amount of money once you've graduated. So that is arts, culture, books, films, media, all that in the bin. The only thing that matters, lovely, lovely money. Because that's more important than anything else, isn't it? Money. Well, it isn't. Okay. When you ask somebody, what do you like? Very few people go, well, I just like money. I just like sitting on piles of money, like Scrooge McDuck or Smarg from the, or however it's pronounced, from The Hobbit. Very few people actually go, I like to sit around and count my bazillions. And that's because if you ask people, well, what are you into? Human beings, we are inherently creative in our form. Some of us through knitting, some of us through sculpture, clay. I write terrible songs, for example. We're all creative in our own way. We all have something that we really, really enjoy that isn't just sitting at a desk or at a workplace, typing away, doing stuff. And it's really, really important to remember that. We have to remember that Earth without art is just and it doesn't mean anything. Winston Churchill said that art and culture was the thing that was worth protecting in the UK. That's what they were fighting for in the Second World War. And if you're one of the people that thinks that Winston Churchill is, a role model and you need to take heed of what he said, I think he said that in about 1940. So that's, well, what are you fighting for? Well, we're fighting for Shakespeare. We're fighting for Depeche Mode. Obviously, Depeche Mode hadn't formed at that point, although the formation of Depeche Mode is now nearer to the start of World War II than it is today. I know. The thing that I think is really, really annoying and is really on my mind at the moment is that the absurd and unsustainable inflation of gig tickets and gig prices. It's not designed for the future. It absolutely isn't. We're going to have a situation where, for example, my social life generally tends to revolve around going to see the bands I love, playing the songs that mean everything to me, with people that I like and love around me in places I can get to. Before gig tickets became absurdly expensive, I used to go to a lot of live shows, and the bands that I went to see a lot were the bands that were affordably priced. So, for example, 2015, I think I went to something like 80 shows. 2017, my record, which I will never beat, 109 live shows. Now, when you think about the average ticket price for a gig these days being something like £100, that's £10,000 a year. I can't afford that. Hardly anybody can afford that. Let's be honest about it. Very, very few people can afford that. And we have a situation where fundamentally the firms that are selling gig tickets and setting ticket prices do not fundamentally understand their customers in any tangible, meaningful way. So here's a wake-up call for you guys, you wankers at Ticketmaster and LiveNation and whoever else it is that's setting the ticket prices. We are in the midst of a cost of living crisis. Inflation has gone up 17.69% in the past 3 years. Okay, mortgages have gone up by an astronomical amount. There is only so much space in somebody's income. And when you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, think about the economy and the ways that finances work inside those, art and entertainment are the thing that come last. They absolutely are. Okay, if someone said to me, well, what's your priorities? Well, I'd like to have somewhere to sleep. I'd like to have something to eat. I'd like to have some electricity. and I'd like to have some water, and I'd like to have some Wi-Fi, and I'd like to have some clothes. Those are really important things. Those are things that are basically essentials for my continued survival on the planet. Much as it pains me to say, if I were no longer able to buy CDs, I wouldn't actually die. It might feel like it, but I wouldn't. If I wasn't able or couldn't afford to go to see bands, to be honest, I wouldn't do it. I'd have to think about my options and go to see cheaper bands and less often. That's how it works. The headroom that comes inside most people's budgets to go and buy gig tickets is extremely small. There is a cost of living crisis, and you're going to find that you're selling less tickets overall. Even if you think this year is a bumper year, and by the way, this year, 2023, the forecast is that UK ticket sales will be £5.57 billion. Okay, and the reason people think it's going to be £5.57 billion is for a number of reasons. The first one is more acts are touring ever than they've ever toured before, because after 2020, 21 and summer 22, they haven't been able to tour. They're all on the road at the same time. Okay, in November 2021, I had 17 gigs because all the shows from March 2020 through to August 2021 had all been rescheduled for November, and I had 3 shows on one night. Unsurprisingly, I only went to one of them. The second thing that we've got, by the way, that number of 5.57 billion comes from Statista.com, is that with an average ticket price of over £100 means 55 million tickets. And according to Mike Rapino, talking on the Bob Lafsette's podcast, said that people go to shows maybe twice a year, which means that in his mind, 26 million people go to a gig, and they'll every year, which is, I think, very, very ambitious and over-egging it. There are vast numbers of people who don't care about going to see bands. They couldn't give a hoot if Elton John is at the football stadium down the road, as long as he can turn the noise down, please, because I've got to get the kids to sleep. That's how people are thinking. And then out of that 26 million people that could go to shows, many of us are being priced out. So there was a YouGov poll which took place earlier on this year that said over half of Brits were priced out of attending live shows or events in 2022. 77%, now 77% of 26 million is about 19 million people, thought that shows were too expensive. 44% of those 26 million thought that shows were very expensive. So if 12 million people think your product is very expensive, it's very expensive, full stop. Okay, and we also found that prices have risen by 35% post-Brexit, but average wages have dropped, which means the amount of money that people have in their disposable income to spend on shows is much, much lower. People are not going to go to shows. It's unsustainable to have absurdly high ticket prices. We've also found a concept called surge pricing, which is very similar to airline pricing, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But fundamentally, the principle is when there's lots of demand, the prices go up. When there's no demand, the prices go down. 71% of people that buy gig tickets, out of that, let's say that's 26 million. So that's, oh God, let me guess, 16 million, 17 million. Think that that's oppose it, of which 52%, which is about 14 million, are strongly opposed to it. Fundamentally, guys, read the room, because your punters are not happy, and I'm not happy. Now, previously, I used to go and see 5-6 shows on a Depeche Mode tour. That was my idea of a holiday. Some people, they'll go to Greece for a fortnight, they'll get sunburn, and they'll get hangovers, and that's their holiday. That's great. My holiday, I go to see bands. I go and live in a world where I go to see bands very often. That's my holiday, and you are pricing me out of the entertainment and the things that fundamentally I live for. I live for 3 things. I live for my family. Sorry, middle finger. Sorry, I live for my family, my cats, and my music. But my music is telling me to fuck off, because the gig prices are too expensive. I know it's expensive putting on a show. I don't care how expensive it is to put on a show. I've seen the profit ratios. I've been to Companies House. You can download bands accounts. You can see how much money certain people are making. Ed Sheeran made a profit of £38 million. All right, that's profit. £38 million. That's not, not just turnover. That's pure profit. £38 million in 1 year alone. That's a lot of money by any standard. And what we have is a fundamental disconnection between the cost of putting on the show, the number of tickets that you can sell, and the profit ratio. The profit ratio is too high, and what you're doing is you're shutting out fans, both current and future customers, by pricing your tickets at absurd, unrealistic and unaffordable levels. Let's go through Depeche Mode tickets, because Depeche Mode tickets are a thing which I tried to buy the other day, and I was lucky and one of my friends was able to secure a pre-sale standing ticket for the O2 Arena. Now, the price of a pre-sale standing ticket for the O2 Arena, £85 plus £33, plus £13.80 in booking fees, therefore costing £98.80 for one standing ticket to see Depeche Mode. There are about 10,000 tickets on the floor, and there's 20,000 tickets or 17,000 tickets overall at the O2 Arena. That is a lot of money, loads of money, tons of money, as the band's accountant said in the video, for everything counts. Let's go through some inflation adjusted numbers so we can see about what the inflation adjusted numbers might look like. So 22nd of November 1990, my first Depeche Mode show on the World Violation Tour. Okay, I've looked it up. The ticket stubs on DM Live Wiki are £11 plus £1.50 booking fee. That's £12.50 in earth money to see 4 members of Depeche Mode on the Violation Tour at the NEC Arena. They're playing the NEC Arena next year. Inflation adjusted, that £12.50 is £29.38, by the way. Now, if you said to me, oh, you can see Depeche Mode for £29.38, I'd be going, yeah, okay, I'll do that. That's a good value for money proposition. 1990, £11 or £29 inflation adjusted. 1993, the devotional tour. Here's an unofficial live recording from the Crystal Palace Bowl. Ticket prices £17.50, by the way, for most of the indoor shows in the UK on that particular tour, which inflation adjusted works out at £35.79. And yeah, that's a reasonable price for an arena show for a band that you see once every few years. Let's go for 1998. So 1998, by the way, I saw the band at the Birmingham NEC Arena. There's my ticket stub there, block 14. Row 2, 94, by the way. And although it's now faded, what you can see on there, £21.50. £21.50 inflation adjusted now is £47, by the way, just in case you were wondering about what that cost might be. Okay, that was the singles tour, which here is the Cologne bootleg CD from that particular show, or that particular tour. Then let's get to 2001, and 2001 is perhaps a little more interesting. 2001 is the Exciter tour. Exciter, widely regarded by me, and obviously my opinion matters, as the worst Depeche Mode album since A Broken Frame. There's a bootleg CD live at the Paris Bercy. And what we have for the Exciter Tour plus support, Wednesday 12th of October, 17th of October 2001, Wembley Arena, £22.50. So the price has gone up by £1.50 in 3 years, which inflation adjusted actually works out at £38.47. That's the kind of price I can live with. I'm okay with that. You know, that's not unachievable. By the time we get to 2006, the world has changed a little bit. 2006, ticket prices are £30. Again, not an astronomical rip-off, £30. You know, not cheap, but then you're seeing a band in an arena, playing in an arena-sized venue. Let's see if I can find a ticket for it in here. Standing area only, Sunday, 2nd of April, 2006, £30. Inflation adjusted, £49. So what we're seeing is a slow but steady rise of ticket prices. This tour, by the way, I also saw the Wireless Festival. Here's the official live CD from the Wireless Festival. That is £37, which obviously is an all-day show at Hyde Park, so perhaps a little more affordable, or more correctly, a little more justifiable that the price is a little bit bigger, because lots of other acts played that day, although I don't remember who else played on that particular day. So we go to, let's just quickly check here. Depeche Mode. So Saturday, 30th of May, 2009. That show didn't happen. That ticket there is £35, subject to booking fee. Here's one for the Royal Albert Hall. It's £30. So £35 translates as inflation adjusted £51. So what we're seeing is a slow but steady rise of ticket prices over time. But we are seeing a slow but steady rise, but not a massively disproportionate one over time. So this show here, this one is the O2 Arena. That's £35. That's £51. £51 is, you know, I can understand why an arena show would cost £51 to put on, or more correctly, why it might cost, let's say, £40 plus £10 profit, or maybe £30 plus £20 profit. I don't mind the bands that I love making money. Honestly, that is why they do it. They've got to make a decent profit. I fully understand it. I don't mind people making a bit of money. I mind when they make too much money, because if I have to pick between me having not enough money and Depeche Mode making slightly less money, I'm going to go for Depeche Mode making slightly less money, because their bank accounts are fully available on Companies House. Those guys are loaded. They have a lot of cash. Okay, there is no mucking about. They are very fucking rich, and it's an absolute rip-off. I think they've lost track. They've lost contact with the grounds. They've lost contact with the fan base. They've lost contact with the real world that they live in. And they think, as long as, oh, we sell enough tickets, and that means people must go to see us. And hey, how much money have we made? And we can put on an extra night. Sure. So, yep, that's absolutely fine. And they don't care. You know, they don't care about how pissed off the fans are, as long as they sell tickets. They don't care if a fan would go and see 3 shows as opposed to 9 shows, even though that's actually 6 lost sales, guys. They don't care about that, because they've made their money, and they don't mind pissing off the fan base. And frankly, you can't get into the situation of annoying your customers, because music is a luxury. Much as it pains me to say, music is the thing that, if someone had to say, what are you not going to spend money on, food or CDs and gig tickets? I go, I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to go to the gigs. You know, if COVID taught me one thing, it was that I could survive not seeing shows for a long period of time, and I wouldn't actually die or explode in frustration. It felt tough. It was really tough, but it wasn't actually fatal not being able to see Depeche Mode. And if the bands decide that my custom and my loyalty over the past 35 years is worth fuck all, because they'd rather make an extra bit of money and gouge me like I'm some kind of con that can be exploited, then frankly, they can go fuck off, and I won't go see them very often. I'll go to see one show. I won't go and see multiple shows. So let's go to 2014, because 2014 is a big year. 2014. Well, this is a ticket for the Birmingham NEC on the 27th of January 2014, and that is £50. So that's a £15 price rise in 2.5 years. Okay, so actually 4 years, because between February 2010 and I saw them in Rome, and I saw them in London twice, and then I saw them in Birmingham. All the shows were a few months apart, so the set list did change and differ over time. £50. Now, inflation adjusted, £50 in 2014 equates to £65 now. And also the 2013 tickets were £50. That equates to £65 now as well. That was on the Live in Berlin set. 2017. So let's go for 2017 here. 2017, I saw the band 3 times. And the reason I saw the band 3 times was because the ticket prices were getting a bit expensive. I saw them at the Barrowlands in Glasgow. That was an amazing show. That was half the length of an average Depeche show for £25 or £30. I saw them in Nice. And in Nice, the tickets were €67. I saw them at the O2 Arena, and the tickets for the O2 Arena, by the way, were, let me just quickly check here, the tickets there were £78, which inflation adjusted is £85. What you've seen is between 1990 and 2017, 27 years, the band's prices have, inflation adjusted, tripled. So if you thought about, for example, the rise in house prices that's happened recently, and if house prices, if let's say, you know, a chicken had risen by the same inflationary measure as a house price, for example, a chicken would cost about £50. If a house, if let's say, a penny sweet, or let's say a chicken had gone up by the same inflationary measure as Depeche Mode tickets, your chicken would cost £50. It's absurd. It's 3 times the price, and it's 3 times the price because they think people will pay it. And as long as people keep buying tickets, they will pay that money, and they'll keep charging you for it. Even if, let's say, I paid £65 to see Roger Waters at Wembley Stadium in 2013, and I'll be blunt, it's a lot of money. But I saw it and I looked at the show and I could see every penny of that £65 was on the stage. I got £65 worth of value out of that because there was some absurd, ridiculous, grandiose staging. You could see where every penny had gone. And as I said before, I don't mind the bands making a bit of profit. I'm totally okay with it. In fact, I want them to make profit, but I don't want them to make too much profit, okay? So the Memento Mori tour, this t-shirt, by the way, this is an unofficial version of the t-shirt. This one's £12 on eBay. Officially €50 in Antwerp. Or in 2023, you could get a standing ticket to see them, and it was, and let me just quickly check, €124.15, which inflation adjusted, by the way, is about £95. 2024, it's £98. But things get a little bit hazy when we start talking about the Memento Mori tour and the most recent set of shows that went on sale. There's a trick that they have, which is that they don't show you the price until the moment where you can buy the tickets, at which point you've jumped all through the hoops already registered for the pre-sale, you're on the page, you sat there. The only thing you need to do at the point that you find out what the price is put your card details in. Now, if you're on a budget, that's a pretty terrifying place to be, because let's say you can only afford £50 and you've gone through all of those things and you find that I can't even afford half a ticket. I can't even get my left arm and my left leg in, let alone the whole of my body into the show. It's disrespectful to people that are operating on a budget. It's exclusionary and it shuts out fans that don't have huge amounts of money, and it relies on people having sufficient cash available in their bank accounts to be able to drop a few £100s like that at 2 days notice for a gig ticket, because if it's going to sell out, it's going to sell out, oh my god, it's going to sell out, and you can't go, you loser, you can't put it on Instagram, and it's absurd, it's ridiculous. Publish the fucking ticket prices before the shows go on sale, and then people can make sure they've got enough money available, as opposed to having to shuffle around and think, oh god, do I need to ring up my credit card provider and ask for an extension to my credit card or something. It's not good enough, it's not respectful, it's abusive, and it's insulting. And there's also the other thing about the Depeche Mode ticket sales, is that if you click through to the pre-sale ticket show for ticket link for the first show, 22nd of January to 2024 at the O2 Arena, you could buy face value tickets. 3 minutes later, oh, they're all gone. So what have we got? We've got platinum tickets. What are platinum tickets? Well, they're just the same as regular tickets. They're just really fucking expensive. So how much are platinum tickets? Oh, £250. Now, £250. If I was going to pay £250 for a ticket for anything, I'd expect 7 days at a hotel or something. I'd expect a flight. I wouldn't expect to be able to spend 2 hours with Depeche Mode alongside 20,000 other people with no guarantee that they're going to play any of the songs that I like. I mean, there's a good chance they won't, but there's no guarantee of it. And what we have here is we have a value proposition. If you're looking at that and going £250 for 120 minutes of music, that's £2 per minute of music. That's not a great value offer at all. Now, Mike Rapino said on the podcast, and I'm going to tear this idiotic statement to bits in a second, is it's a magic moment, maybe twice a year, cheaper than Disneyland. This is a great product that people will buy like a Gucci bag. They're going to buy moments in life where they spoil themselves, the big screen TV or whatever. And he said the 2-hour performance of a lifetime that happens once every 3 to 4 years. You don't have to underprice yours because low to middle income people will make their way. Well, firstly, Michael, you're full of fucking shit. Let's explain this. Okay, it is a magic moment, but me seeing hundreds of pounds disappear out of my bank account to see a band play is not a magic moment, okay? The cost of the production of the show is in no way proportionate to the cost of the tickets. You are charging absurd and unjustifiable profit levels that are a cartel. They are obscene. absolutely obscene, and you are shutting out thousands, hundreds of thousands of vocal annoyed fans with this absurd ticket pricing. And by the way, I heard that Berlin, all the seating, all the standing tickets in the arena floor were priced as platinum tickets at around £295. Paying £295 to stand all night on the floor to see Depeche Mode is not good value for money. Newsflash, fellas. Lots of your fans are old. Our backs hurt. We like to sit down, and we don't have that kind of money available. Okay, if you want to play to an empty room, go ahead. Now the problem is people will pay it because people will think, oh, it could be the last time I see them. Well, Michael, you said it's a 2-hour performance of a lifetime. Well, if it's a performance of a lifetime, it only happens once. But then you go and follow it happens once every 3 to 4 years. Then it's not a performance of a lifetime, you gibbering shit-faced asshole. It's just not the way. Okay, I saw Leonard Cohen once, and I saw Leonard Cohen once because I thought he was going to die. Okay, but he came around again. I didn't go around again. The performance of a lifetime doesn't happen every 3 to 4 years. It happens once every 80 years. You fucking shit gibbon. How dare you? Firstly, you don't understand that. The second one is to say low to middle income people will make their way if they really want to go. That's like saying, well, people are going to have to go without in order to go and see Depeche Mode. Do you know what? Any sensible, sane person that's not an insane psychopath would look at the ticket prices for that and go, I'm not sure I can afford that. I'm not sure I'll go. But you don't care about that. You don't care about people not going, and you don't care about cutting off your future income streams, because who cares as long as you can gouge them for as much money as you possibly can right fucking now. The other thing that he said, which I take offence with because it's blatantly wrong, is he said that it is a great product that people will buy like a Gucci bag or a big screen TV. Well, newsflash, okay? I don't buy Gucci bags. I buy regular bags because I don't see any point whatsoever in buying a Gucci bag because I'm not interested in a Gucci bag. I'm interested in a bag. A bag is a thing that holds things. It is an object that performs a function. I don't care if Gucci make it. I only care about, is it going to do the job it needs to do, and do I like it? Okay, it's not a fashion statement. Me liking Depeche Mode is not a fashion statement. I don't do it for everyone else to go, oh, he's got Depeche Mode tickets, he must have loads of money. Well, I don't. But I don't give a shit about that. I give a shit about going to see a band. I care about playing songs that mean something to me. That's what I care about. I care about being able to access the art and entertainment that has spoken to me and made my life in some way more bearable and more enjoyable over the past however many years I've been on the planet. It's not a fucking Gucci bag. Full stop. Okay? Because nobody buys Gucci bags twice a week and buys 100 of them. Okay? Full stop. People that go to gigs, there are people that go to hundreds of gigs a year. I know their names. I know where they live. I love them dearly. But they go to hundreds of gigs a year. They are not the type of people that go, actually, do you know what? I'm going to take the thing that I love doing, that I really want to spend most of my time doing and most of my nights out doing. I'm going to reduce that down to 2 nights a year. No, that's not how people think. Okay, as an industry, your valued punters are the people that come back, your repeat customers, not the people that come back twice a year, but the people that come back 20, 30, 40, 50 times a year. Those are the people you need to keep on your side, because otherwise you're going, oh, nobody buys gig tickets anymore, we're going to have to put the price of gig tickets up. We go, well, nobody buys gig tickets because they're really fucking expensive, and the price of the gig tickets are vastly disproportionate to the price of the production and putting on the show. Now, if you said to me, a Depeche Mode show, right, 10,000 tickets, £250 a night, that show's going to cost 2.5 million. It's like, no, it fucking isn't. There's no way it's going to cost 2.5 million. Even if the prices have gone up 35% post-Brexit, it's not going to cost 2.5 million. It's not going to cost £1 million to put on a night. It absolutely bloody isn't. So stop ripping us off, because we're not fucking idiots. The profit ratios are ridiculous and they're absurd. And how dare someone compare accessing and enjoying art and culture like a fucking Gucci bag? It isn't. Art should be for everyone. It should be accessible to everyone, and it should be open to people of all incomes, irrespective of whether they don't have a huge amount of money or not. Okay. The other thing is, if it's a Gucci bag or a big screen TV, that's an investment. A big screen TV should last you 5 to 7 years. A Gucci bag might last you a lifetime. A show, it's gone in a night. It's not a fucking Gucci bag. Okay, and if it's a once in a lifetime experience, don't come around 3 or 4 years later jacking up the prices again, expecting us to go. We're not going to fucking go. Ticket prices are too expensive for the really big acts. Okay, and this whole premium seating bullshit where you expect us to pay £300 because we'll only see Depeche Mode once every 3 or 4 years is nonsense. We're not going to do it. I've sat out many shows because I guess I could afford them if I'd made a couple of sacrifices and I decided not to do other things. But you know what? I don't want to pay £200 to stand on the floor of the O2 Arena to see Pet Shop Boys. I don't want to pay £250 to stand at the back of the room and see Depeche Mode at Manchester Arena. I've got better things to spend that £250 on, and we're in the middle of a cost of living crisis. Inflation is through the roof. Food has gone up by 17%. Mortgages have, in many cases, doubled for people. We do not have the fucking money. Now, I'm aware this may be a man in a void talking to himself, but the ticket price, the connection between the cost of putting on a show and the cost of the ticket has become disconnected. The profit ratios are absurd. The ticket prices are ridiculous. They are unaffordable. They're unsustainable. And the ticket industry really needs to pull its head out of its ass and smell the coffee that's been made at home, because we're not buying fucking lattes. Now, we also have this issue of dynamic pricing where the prices go up and the prices go down. So dynamic pricing, standing tickets for some in the general sale for the first of the 2 shows at the London O2 Arena was up to £250 on Saturday morning. 2 hours later, they put on an extra show where the standing tickets were down to £100 because people had already bought all the expensive ones. They'd spent all their bloody money. Now the band are going to play to less people. I checked 10 minutes before I started doing this. You can buy standing tickets for Depeche Mode at the London O2 Arena on the Saturday night at £85. The first night is sold out, including the premium tickets, because people thought, oh, they're only going to be playing once, I have to go and see them. Well, just because you put on an extra show doesn't mean people are going to find an extra few £100. Maybe if you'd sold the tickets at £100, people could have gone to 2 shows, but you'd rather sell 1 ticket for £250 than 2 tickets for £200, and then piss off your fans that go, actually, you know what? I don't need to see Depeche Mode again. And when they come around again the next time, we go, actually, you know, I paid loads for them last time. It wasn't worth it. I don't think I'm going to go. And if someone goes, well, actually, it's only £85 now. It's like, well, it's still 85 quid. I've spent 250 to see them. You're pissing off the fans. Okay, the profit ratios are too high and concerts are very, very expensive. Full stop. 77% of Britain says it's expensive. 71% of Britain says that surge pricing and dynamic pricing is something they are strongly opposed to. 17% of people have been pushed out, full stop, of shows. More than half of people in the UK that buy tickets have been priced out of shows because they're too expensive. This is not something where you want to annoy your fan base. It absolutely isn't, because you'll end up having your appeal becoming, as Spinal Tap said, more selective, and you'll be paying to less people supporting a fucking puppet show. Okay, so let's go for another couple of things whilst we're at it and whilst I'm in a mood. In 2005, Guy Oseary boasted about having the first over $100 ticket prices for the Madonna tour. Inflation adjusted, that's £168, by the way, or $168. There is no way that any conceivably humane band manager should ever boast about being able to charge ridiculously high ticket prices. What you're saying is, I'm really good at ripping my fans off. I'm really good at gouging for as much money as possible as I can get out of them. Now, this is just not the way to do things. It just absolutely isn't. Now, the wanker from Q Prime said in 2017, when they put Metallica tickets on sale for the indoor tour that were £95, okay, £95 for Metallica, he said there was no audience pushback. Bullshit, man. Fucking bullshit. £95 for a Metallica ticket in 2017 was a lot of bloody money. Full stop. And there was audience pushback, because if there hadn't been £95, if there'd been £50, I would have seen 2 Metallica shows that year. As it stands, I saw one through gritted teeth, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. I'm not paying to see Metallica again. I haven't paid to see Metallica since. I haven't paid to see them at any of their shows since then. I've seen them once, which was a freebie. Thanks, Robin. really appreciate the gesture, but I could not afford to see Metallica in 2019. I couldn't afford to see them for 2 nights in 2017, and it's ridiculous. And you look at the costs of that show, for example. So it's not just your 95 or £100 for your ticket, okay? So where I live, if I want to go into London, that's £45. That's either £45 travel, parking, or train. Full stop. It's going to cost me 50 quid near enough to get to London. I have to buy food when I'm there. That's not cheap. If I want to stay over, that's a hotel. That's £150. Okay, so you're looking at £300, and you haven't even bought a drink or a t-shirt if you want to get a t-shirt or a burger or anything. Okay, you think an average gig t-shirt these days at least £35, sometimes up to 50. And you think about food. Let's say you're going with somebody because you aren't going to stand on your own. That's 50 quid. You're suddenly going, well, it's not just 100 quid for the ticket. It's actually nearer to £200, £300 for a show. It's really expensive to access big, large-scale live music. It's too expensive. It needs to stop, because people are just going to stop going. Okay, full stop. People just can't afford to go to shows. When you think about the cost of a show, the Metallica show, by the way, 2 hours, 2 minutes. It's £100 minimum to get inside the venue these days, which works out at 50p per minute. That's about, because they're playing about 16 song sets. Depending upon where you are, that could be up to £16-20 a song. Okay, and also, by the way, the Metallica live show has up to 90 seconds of an intro tape in front of most of the songs while the band limber up and rest, and their grueling tour schedule of playing 24 shows a year, which means that actually you maybe get 80 minutes of proper live music for a minimum of £100. And some of those shows, some of those tickets, they're thousands of pounds. Okay, to say that there is an audience pushback is ignorant, stupendously insulting nonsense. There is. Just look at Twitter and look at how annoyed people are about ticket prices. Bands have lost touch with the costs and the lives that their fans have. They think that because someone is going to pay that much money and enough people pay, then it must be okay. The absurd inflation of ticket prices is unjustifiable nonsense. Now, you can argue, I won't agree with you, but you can argue, well, nobody buys CDs anymore. Nobody buys records. So we've got to make our money in other ways by putting up the ticket prices. And yeah, it's very unlikely anyone's going to buy a copy of Park Life. You know, the next Blur album that comes out, it's probably going to sell 20,000 maybe at most, you know, compared to the millions that it used to sell. But if you go to soundofvinyl.com, today they're advertising a double disc version of Park Life on vinyl for £56.99, which is fucking nonsense. £56 for a fucking Blur album. Okay, you can go to the charity shop and get this for £1 if you really want on CD. I don't understand what's going on. It's a rip-off, and we're fed up of it. They've treated us like shit. In fact, the only people that hasn't, in terms of ticket prices on a major arena scale that I've come across recently, The Cure are excellent at their ticket prices. You know, the cheapest ticket to go and see The Cure in America was £20, or more correctly, $20. And by the way, that was still the biggest selling and most profitable tour so far in 2023. So I figure they're doing something right. You know, Pet Shop Boys, depending upon where you were, you could get him for £35 if you were at the back of Wembley Arena. That's a reasonable price to see them. But £250, and by the way, some of the seating tickets for Roger Waters last month at the O2 Arena, £224. It may be his first farewell tour. He may be old and tired and his back might hurt and he might never tour again, but £225. You were doing 2-for-1s on the Dark Side of the Moon tour in 2008, so I went to see him for £24. Tickets to see him in 2002 were £24. Now, inflation adjusted, that would be £40 now. Or inflation adjusted 2008, that'd probably be about £50 now. £222. The cheapest ticket to see Roger Waters was something like £90. It's just greedy. And as I've said before, I don't mind people making money. I mind when they rip us off, and when the relationship between the cost of the gig ticket and the cost of putting on the gig has become disconnected to the point where your profit ratios are, if you sell every ticket in the house, that you're making twice, 3 times what it costs. If every ticket inside the O2 Arena is a premium ticket or a platinum ticket, and let's say half of them are sold at retail and half of them are sold platinum, you end up, what's your gross going to be? 20,000 times £200. That's £4 million a night. It doesn't cost £4 million a night to put on a show. It doesn't cost £2 million a night to put on a show. It doesn't cost £1 million. I've seen the numbers. You're ripping us off. The gig ticket price scandal is going to collapse at some point. People are going to run out of money, or they're not going to go to shows, and then we're going to have bands playing to empty stadiums. Metallica still didn't sell a single ticket on the top tier of the Stade de France when they played there last month, by the way, because lo and behold, that was €100 for a ticket, and who wants to stand 200 foot up in a quarter of a mile away from the stage? It's going to burst, and you will have no one to blame but yourselves, because of two things. Firstly, you don't care about fans. You don't care about our lives, our incomes, whether we're struggling, how much money we're earning. You regard a gig ticket as an expensive commodity luxury item like a Gucci bag or a big screen TV. And frankly, that's an insult. A Gucci bag will last 30 years. A big screen TV will last 7 or 8 years. A gig is gone in a night. It is not the same. It's a false equivalence. Stop trying to sell us this bullshit. The cost of putting on the show versus the cost of the product that you're selling us, the cost and the price have become massively disconnected, and it is unsustainable. There will come a time when the bubble will burst and people will go, oh, no one's buying gig tickets anymore. Well, no one's buying gig tickets anymore because they can't fucking afford them. And relax. As you all have noticed from other episodes, if you've seen any other episodes, I'm not normally this annoyed, but I'm fed up of being treated like shit. And there are bands and tours that I've missed out on, not because I can't afford them, but because I've looked at the value proposition and I went, it's not worth the money. I could spend that £224, Roger, on literally anything else. Things like food, water, electricity, my mortgage, other records, other gigs that aren't £224. There are other things to spend the money on. We don't need to see the bands as much as the bands think we need to see them, because when you're charging that much money for a gig ticket, what you're saying is, I don't care whether you have to make sacrifices. You either pay me or you don't go. It's not a once in a lifetime opportunity. You're coming around in 3 to 4 years' time, and by then, by the way, the bubble will have burst. I don't mind bands making money, and I don't mind bands making a bit of money. I don't mind merch that's ridiculous. What I do mind is an absurd, unjustifiable, obscene profit level, and an absurd, obscene, and unjustifiable ticket price. It's insulting, it's unjustifiable, it's unethical, and it's wrong. So I think that's where I'm going to stop. I'm getting annoyed again, and I don't want to get annoyed again. I love going to see live music. It's one of the best things that's ever happened. Some of the best nights of my life have been standing in the same room or stadium as the bands that have meant so much to me. Bands that have helped me navigate my way through difficult times in my life. Bands that have written and recorded songs that have changed how I see the world and how I live within my world. And songs that have been there when everything else has gone wrong. And for them to find that I could access that, but the band only want me to access it if I'm filthy fucking rich and I don't mind paying £200 a ticket, I'm kind of going, it's not good enough. It's not a value for money proposition. I can't justify it. I need to do other things with that money. And it's not as if I've got unlimited amounts of cash that I can spend on this stuff. Everyone is having a tough time financially at the moment. Everyone is struggling financially. Even the people that are on really high incomes are finding that things are getting more difficult because we live in a hyperinflation economy where everything is getting much more expensive. Here's the trick, guys. Lower your ticket prices to the point where you can make a reasonable amount of money and not an unreasonable amount of money, and you won't piss off the fan base. I'm fed up with ridiculous ticket prices. I don't need to go and see bands as often as I used to do. Bands have made it plain and clear they don't care about my opinions. They don't care about whether I'm annoyed or not. They don't care whether I can afford it. All they want is money. Now, I totally get that profit is important, but what I don't get is how any act can live with itself by charging £100, £200 for a gig ticket. No gig is worth that. Heck, Joy Division could come back from the dead and say, tickets are £300 when playing a stadium. We go, you know what? I ain't going. I'm all right, thanks. I'm okay with that. You carry on, because that's where it's going to be. And there's going to come a time when the people that are the lifeblood of the live industry, the punters, us, the people that go to shows, the people that go to the shows, buy the tickets, buy the t-shirt, there's going to come a time when we can't go anymore, and you guys are going to be playing to smaller rooms of rich people that don't care as long as they can take a nice photograph and you play the hit at the end. And they talk all the way through all those songs. And if all that you care about is that, you don't give a shit about playing to people that like your music or having a connection with your audience. If the only thing you care about is making millions of squids, then guess what? What you find is that money won't care for you either. It just won't. This ridiculous, absurd inflationary bubble of hyperinflation in gig tickets is unsustainable. It will not last. It will burst. And when it happens, frankly, I am, to quote a song from Some Great Reward by the Depeche Modes, do you know what I'm going to say? Told you so. Right, that's it. I'm out. This is the first one of these you've seen, I'm normally less annoyed, but I'll get to those when I do those in future. Stay beautiful, take care of yourselves and each other, unless of course you are Michael Rapino, at which point go fuck yourself, you rip-off merchant, you absolute festering shit given. Lower the ticket prices. Gigs are not Gucci bags or big screen TVs, you utter arsewipe. For the rest of you, stay beautiful, and I'll see you later. Bye.